Hello fans, happy New Year's. How was your New Year's, guys? Huh? Me? Since you asked, I went to go get dinner. I ate a bunch of fucking sushi. I'm fat as fuck right now. It's not like you give a shit, right? Because that's not what you're here for. You're here for my reaction to the God Emperor of Humankind. Warhammer 40k lore. It's time to finish this fucking shit where we last left off. Let's get fucking started. Alright, so we last left off with the Imperial Webway project. We were talking about the library right after, or where we last left off.
Around 2 centuries into the Great Crusade, the Emperor made a pivotal decision to return to Terra. His purpose was to supervise a crucial endeavor, the secretive Webway project, which was integral to his grand vision for humanity. This project involved the utilization of a remarkable artifact from the Dark Age of technology, known as the Golden Throne, which had been unearthed beneath. His ambitious plan was to harness the Golden Throne to access and modify the complex Eldari Webway. The goal was to transform it into a direct and instant transport network, linking all the worlds of the Imperium. This human-modified section of the Webway was intended to mimic the extensive network of warp gates that once interconnected the ancient interstellar empires of the Old Ones and the Eldari.
So basically,
the Webway promised to revolutionize human progress, enabling unprecedented scientific and economic advancement. Crucially, it offered a more efficient and safer mode of travel, entirely circumventing the perilous chaos-infested regions of the warp, which posed constant threats of death or spiritual corruption to human faster-than-light space travel. The Emperor's ultimate aim with the Webway project was to entirely disconnect humanity from its dependence on the warp. This detachment would significantly diminish the ability of chaos to corrupt and destroy, and also reduce the psychic emanations feeding the chaos.
Yes. Bro, the God Emperor has it down right. He knows what he's doing, bro. He's gaining independence from the warp. He wants nothing. He wants nothing to do with it. It's nothing but bad news.
Corridor of the Webway. The Emperor envisioned guiding humanity through the protective confines of the Webway, fostering its evolution into a fully psychic race. This step was expected to elevate human ascendancy on the galactic stage, surpassing even the achievements of the bygone Eldari Empire, and heralding an unprecedented golden age of human civilization. A human-controlled Webway would also serve to consolidate the Imperium, ensuring that humanity would never again be fragmented by the constraints of time and distance. However, the immense scale and complexity of this project demanded the Emperor's undivided focus and necessitated utmost secrecy. Disclosure of the project could provoke opposition from humanity's adversaries, jeopardizing its success. The Golden Throne, a relic of the Dark Age of technology, was central to this ambition. It facilitated human access to the Webway and was an intricately mechanized throne crafted from an enigmatic, psychically reactive, gold-complexed alloy.
So this is the thing that's keeping him alive right now, and he wants to live forever on this thing so that he can continue to push humanity's progress forward.
Positioned above a pair of massive golden alloy doors, it served as the gateway to the Webway, large enough to permit the passage of a Warhound-class Scout Titan. Originally situated in the subterranean reaches of the Imperial Palace, specifically where the Emperor's gene laboratory complex, known as the Imperial Dungeon, once stood, the Golden Throne became the project's focal point. In this area, hundreds of Mechanicum tech priests and servitors labored tirelessly. The Emperor, seated on the Golden Throne, employed his prodigious psychic abilities to maintain the Webway portal, enabling his workers to construct a new segment of the labyrinthine dimension. This extension was intended to connect Terra to the rest of the largely neglected transdimensional transport network.
So does this mean he has to sit on that throne for the rest of time, probably, as long as he has to, until mankind perishes, which it never will under his order, of course, because, you know, the great God Emperor, I would never doubt you. It was just a I'll just go kill myself.
The Webway, constructed from a material designed to be resistant to psychic interference and thus impervious to incursions from warp entities, posed a unique challenge. You see, humanity lacked the technology to replicate this psychically resistant material. Consequently, the Emperor had to personally use the Golden Throne to shield the new human-constructed sections of the webway from any warp intrusions. This task necessitated his continuous presence on the throne, and was the primary reason he had to relinquish direct leadership of the Great Crusade, delegating it to his Primarchs before returning to Terra to supervise the project. Following the monumental triumph of Imperial forces against the largest Orkwag the Imperium had faced during the Yulinar Crusade, the Emperor determined that his direct command of the Great Crusade's military operations was no longer imperative, and so he chose Horus, his most esteemed and capable son, to lead.
I thought we touched on this already. I thought Horus died after betraying him, but I guess we're retouching it right now.
The Crusade in his absence. Horus, the most distinguished among the Primarchs, was the first to be rediscovered by the Emperor on Thonia, a dying planet so proximate to Terra that warp travel was unnecessary for the journey.
Okay, so I was getting comments last video talking about how this guy jumps around timelines and it's super confusing. I can understand where you're getting at now. Yeah, I get it. But I'm here already. I might as well just finish the video, right? I mean, I have the mental notes jotted down. I think I can at least attempt to put it together in a timeline in my head.
Horus had the unique distinction of participating in the Great Crusade alongside his father for many solar decades. He was the most exalted and beloved of the Emperor's sons, enjoying unparalleled trust and affection.
We know this.
The pair shared a profound bond forged in the heat of battle during the early stages of the Great Crusade. Not only did the Emperor shield Horus during the siege of Raylas, but Horus had reciprocated this protection during the Battle of Goro. In another notable encounter, the Battle of Gyros Thravian, the Emperor vanquished the formidable Orc war boss, Garkle Blackfang, who had withstood the might of 3 of his Primarchs. Given their shared history, mutual respect, and loyalty that developed between them, the Emperor deemed Horus the ideal candidate to assume leadership of the Great Crusade during his absence. Elevating Horus to the unprecedented rank of War Master, the Emperor expressed desire for his sons to demonstrate their capabilities as leaders. With this transition, the Emperor stepped away from direct involvement in military affairs. He established the Council of Terra, the precursor to the Senatorium Imperium.
Look at this art, bro. There's just so much shit here. I'm getting overstimulated, bro. Like, if you look at the guy in the blue fucking armor, there's so much detail on that. Like, if you didn't zone in on him, you wouldn't realize this, right? But like, there's so much detail in every single little thing.
Realis introduced the Imperial Tithe and expanded the civil governing and administrative structures of the Imperium, such as the Adeptus Administratum. Following these reforms, he secluded himself beneath the Imperial Palace to commence work on the Golden Throne and the Webway project. However, the Emperor's decision to retire to Terra without explaining his reasons, coupled with his move to transfer governance from the Primarchs on the War Council to the Terran nobility and bureaucrats, who were generally disliked by the Primarchs, planted seeds of discontent among them. Of course, further stirring unrest was the appointment of Horus as War Master, elevating him above his brothers and making him their superior. That's a recipe for disaster. You don't even gotta say it. I know. Have you ever seen Succession? This is what this is. Currents of ambition, pride, and jealousy created an environment ripe for
they'll tear each other up to Wolf's Den,
ultimately leading to the corruption of many Primarchs and paving the way for the tragic events of the Horus heresy.
I never wanted this, but you betrayed me. You stole power from the gods and lied to your sons. From the skies of Terra to the galactic rim.
This guy's a Primarch? The guy that's talking right now? He sounds like the final boss. What the fuck does the God Emperor sound like? Does he have a voice line? If he does, somebody link me down in the comments below, because this guy sounds sick as fuck and he's only second in command. He's not even all that as compared to the God Emperor.
Let the seas boil, let the stars fall.
This is Horus.
See the galaxy freed once more. So let it be war. Mankind has only one chance to prosper. If you will not seize it, then I will. And if I cannot save it from your failure, Father, then let the galaxy burn.
Hey, bro, listen. I know he's your son and all, but like if he sounds like that, he sounds evil. You get what I'm saying? Like, there's really no reason why you would entrust such power to him just based off the way he sounds. This man sounds criminal. He does not sound good. Those who scaled the pinnacles of glory are the first to plunge into the abyss.
The unfolding events towards the latter stages of the Great Crusade didn't sit well with several of the Emperor's subjects, particularly some of his Primarch sons. During this period, Horus, the most trusted of the Emperor's sons, fell prey to the allure of chaos. This descent into corruption was a slow process, meticulously orchestrated over decades by Primarch Lorgar and his Wordbearers Legion. The concept of the pilgrimage, a mythological journey enabling mortals to commune directly with gods, was a prevalent belief across many human-colonized worlds in the Milky Way galaxy, including Lorgar's homeworld of cultures. Indeed, such a realm did exist in the form of the Warp, where one could encounter the primordial truth of the universe and the presence of the powerful psychic beings known as the Chaos Gods. Driven by the notion of this pilgrimage of Lorgar to ascertain the reality of the gods revered in Colchis' old faith, Lorgar embarked on an expedition with the Wordbearers Legion's serrated Sun chapter. This journey, part of the 1,301st Expeditionary Fleet, took them to the outer limits of Imperial space. At this juncture, Lorgar hadn't yet succumbed to Chaos' corruption, but had grown disillusioned with the Emperor of Mankind, refusing to venerate him as a deity. The change in allegiance followed an incident 43 Terran years before the start of the Horus heresy, where the Emperor and the Ultramarines publicly rebuked Lorgar and the entire Wordbearers Legion on the world of Kur. The Emperor, accompanied by his regent, Malcador the Sigillite, personally visited Kur after instructing the Ultramarines to raise the city of Monarchia. The destruction of Monarchia was a direct response to the city's worship of the Emperor as a deity, a practice propagated by the Wordbearers. This was in stark opposition to the atheistic tenets of the imperial truth, which the Emperor staunchly advocated. Upon his arrival, the Emperor expressed his displeasure to Lorgar for the Wordbearers' role in spreading the cult of Emperor worship across the worlds they integrated into the Imperium. Exerting his psychic might, the Emperor compelled the entire Legion to kneel involuntarily, then denounced them as the only Astartes Legion to have failed his vision during the Great Crusade. This public
only the fucking Emperor
profoundly affected Lorgar. Guided by his first captain, Corpheron, and first chaplain, Erebus, both already swayed by chaos, Lorgar resolved to embark on a pilgrimage. His aim was to ascertain the reality and worthiness of the gods revered in Colchis' ancient old faith, to which the Wordbearers might pledge their faith and allegiance. Lorgar challenged the Emperor's dismissal of humanity's innate inclination towards spirituality as mere superstition. He sought to uncover whether deities truly existed that merited mankind's reverence. Though Lorgar's affection and loyalty to the Emperor had waned, he and his 17 Legion resumed participation in the Great Crusade. However, their involvement was merely a facade, serving as a cover for their underlying quest to complete the pilgrimage. The Wordbearers' pilgrimage was closely monitored by 5 members of the Legio Custodes, assigned by the Emperor to ensure the Legion did not revert to previous errors. In their quest for information about the primordial truth and the realm where gods and mortals might converge, the Wordbearers, as part of the 1,301st Expeditionary Fleet, eventually arrived at the Cadia system. This system neighbored the largest known warp storm in the universe, which would later be recognized by the Imperium as the Eye of Terror. The fleet's master of astropaths informed Lorgar of peculiar voices emanating from the warp near this immense rift. These voices, which also spoke directly to the Primarch, originated from the chaos entities within the Immaterium.
So this is where it begins.
It was in the Cadia system that Lorgar's suspicions were confirmed. The myriad religions across the galaxy, bearing striking resemblances to the Colchisian Old Faith, were not mere coincidences, but manifestations of worship towards the universal truth of chaos. The decision was made for the 1,301st Fleet to maintain orbit over Cadia and deploy elements to the planet, identified as 1,301-12. The landing party consisted of Imperial Army, Wordbearers, Legio Custodes, and Legio Cybernetica forces. Led by Lorgar, they encountered numerous barbaric human tribes on the planet. These tribes, described as dressed in rags and wielding spears tipped by flint blades, displayed...
It took me a while to process what I was seeing on the screen, but I was looking at it, but I wasn't really looking at it. But now I'm looking at it now. What the fuck is going on here, bro? This is psychotic.
Displayed a notable lack of fear. Particularly striking were their purple eyes, mirroring the hue of the Eye of Terror itself. Despite Custodian Vendatha's objections and his request to eliminate the seemingly heretical natives, the word-bearers proceeded to engage with them. It's here that a peculiar woman emerged, addressing Primarch Lorgar directly by his full name, Lorgar Aurelian, and extended a welcome to him on Cadia. This woman, Ingethel of Cadia, a Chaos Priestess, would eventually lead Lorgar down a path purportedly towards spiritual enlightenment. However, in reality, this path was the beginning of Lorgar's descent into heresy and allegiance to chaos. Ingethel would later conduct a ritual, transforming herself into a demon prince, Ingethel the Ascended. Subsequently, she guided the fleet's scout vessel, Orpheo's Lament, into the Eye of Terror. Inside the Eye of Terror, the serrated sun chapter of the Word-Bearers Legion directly witnessed the aftermath of the ancient Eldari's empire's collapse through the desolate crone world scattered across the Eye's expanse. Ingethel then deceitfully explained the birth of the—
Alright, hold on. There's so many names, so many factions, so many this, so many that. I'm trying my hardest to keep up.
She claimed that the Eldari's downfall and the catastrophic event known as the Fall occurred because, at the pinnacle of their ascension, they were unable to embrace the primordial truth, which, in her narrative, meant worshipping chaos. According to Ingethel, the Eldari inadvertently birthed the god of pleasure, Slaanesh, but greeted its emergence not with joy, but with denial and dread. Slaanesh gained consciousness in the 29th millennium, only to find its would-be worshippers turning away in ignorance and terror. This collective grief and rejection gave rise to the tumultuous Great Eye, the Eye of Terror, a manifestation of the birth cries of the Eldari's new, spurned deity.
Fucking Vel'Koz.
In the remnants of the Eldari Empire, the Word-Bearers were confronted with the reality of the primordial truth. Ingethel cautioned them that to avoid the fate of the Eldari, humanity must not repeat their errors, but should embrace the worship of chaos instead. The fragments of the Word-Bearers' serrated sun chapter eventually made their way back to Cadia. They shared with Lorgar their experiences and revelations from within the Eye of Terror, the true nexus where mortals and gods could interact. After his own journey into the Eye and his subsequent acceptance by the Chaos Gods as their chosen mortal champion, Lorgar commanded a cyclonic bombardment of Cadia. This obliteration eradicated the original Cadian population, ensuring that the secrets of the primordial truth, as imparted to him by the— Nevertheless, due to its strategic significance, Cadia was later deemed valuable by the Imperium. Imperial colonists were dispatched to repopulate the world, becoming the progenitors of the Cadians known in later times. Intriguingly, possibly influenced by the Eye of Terror's closeness, this new Cadian population also developed the distinctive violet eyes characteristic of the planet's initial human settlers. It's safe to say that the revelation of Chaos's existence irrevocably transformed Lorgar and the Word-Bearers. Exposed and gradually corrupted by the ruinous powers of Chaos, they became the first of the Legionnaires Astartes to devote themselves to the Chaos Gods, thus betraying the Emperor in their hearts. During the latter years of the Great Crusade, Lorgar and the Word-Bearers endeavored to enlighten humanity about what they perceived as the true spiritual essence of the cosmos. However, they eventually resorted to subterfuge and manipulation to convert 9 of the Primarchs to the Chaos cause, as commanded by their newfound gods. The most significant of these converts was the War Master Horus. The warp is a vital tool to us, a means of communication and transport. Without it, there would be no Imperium of Man, for there would be no quick bridges between the stars. We use it and we harness it, but we have no absolute control over it. It is a wild thing that tolerates our presence, but brooks no mastery. There is power in the warp, fundamental power, not good nor evil,
just power,
but elemental and anathema to us.
Just
it is a tool we use at our own risk. As it became apparent that humanity would not willingly accept the teachings of Chaos without first being violently detached from the Emperor's misleading imperial truth, Lorgar actively contributed to setting the stage for the Horus heresy. He employed Erebus, his legion's first chaplain, as a key operative.
So what I'm understanding is that the Horus heresy happened because the chaos entities are chaos gods. It's mainly their fault, right? Without their intervention, Horus would not have done the thing that he's done, right? He's not acting as an individual agent. He needed to be stirred in a way.
In the scheme. Erebus appropriated a chaos-tainted weapon, the Kine-Brak Anathame from the Interrex, a technologically advanced human civilization, during a brief interaction with the Lunar Wolves. Subsequently, when Horus and the Lunar Wolves landed on Davin's moon to suppress a revolt against Imperial rule, led by the planet's former governor, Eugen Temba, Erebus ensured that Temba, now a devotee of the Plague Lord Nurgle, possessed the Anathame. Davin's moon, a decaying swamp infested with undead abominations
Jesus
like plague
Christ.
zombies created from Temba's Imperial
Jokers
Army
everywhere.
garrison, posed significant challenges to Horus and his forces. In their confrontation on the bridge of Temba's downed Imperial warship, Horus succeeded in killing the corrupted Nurglite. However, he sustained a deep wound from the Anathame, which delivered a potent toxin crafted by Nurgle himself. The poison was so virulent that not even Horus's advanced Primarch immune system could counteract it. And so, in a desperate bid to save the Warmaster, the Lunar Wolves acquiesced to Erebus' suggestion to entrust Horus to the Davinite Lodge priests at the Temple of the Serpent Lodge, a chaos-worshipping temple on Davin, who claimed they could heal him. While undergoing his supposed healing, the Warmaster Horus' spirit was actually transported into the Immaterium, with Erebus acting as his guide. There, Horus was exposed to his own latent ambitions and jealousies, stemming from the Emperor's apparent abandonment. The ruinous powers manipulated these emotions and presented Horus with a deceptive vision.
Right.
This vision erroneously portrayed the Emperor's return to Terra as a scheme to achieve divinity, forsake his sons, and betray the Imperial truth's promise
this is where it comes in.
humanity from the binds of false gods and organized religion. Horus, now convinced by this distorted projection of a future that, in a twist of fate, would only materialize due to his own betrayal of the Emperor, perceived it as his duty to rescue the Imperium from such a destiny. In his misguided determination, he allied himself with the ruinous powers under the facade of Chaos Undivided, in exchange for rebelling against his Emperor. Successfully swaying half of the Space Marine legions to Chaos, Horus spearheaded their rebellion, thrusting the young Galactic Empire into a devastating civil war that endured for 7 standard years. The conflict commenced with the horrific betrayals at the Battle of Istvan III and Istvan V. This war, later known as the Horus heresy, was unparalleled in its brutality in human history.
Or so I've
It
heard.
resulted in the deaths of billions as the traitor legions ravaged the empire they once helped build. The war reached its zenith during the Siege of Terra, where the traitor legions, along with other Chaos forces, made a futile assault on the core of the Imperial Palace. Faced with the formidable defense of the Inner Palace and the throne room of the Emperor, bolstered by the sacrifices of numerous loyalists.
Holy shit. The fuck is going on here? When did Horus have hair?
Started
I'm pretty sure it's
from the
Horus.
triumph of Primarch Sanguinius over the bloodthirster Greater Demon, Karbanda, Horus realized that time was against him. Loyalist reinforcements were en route to Terra.
Dude, Horus is like fucking Lucifer. You know, Satan.
Threatening
Almost.
to reinforce the Imperial defenses.
Or at least there's
In a
some type of
bold
parallel
move to
there.
precipitate a decisive final battle, Horus intentionally deactivated the void shields of his flagship, the Vengeful Spirit, orbiting the Imperial throne world. During the entirety of the Horus heresy, the Emperor had remained bound to the Golden Throne.
What the fuck happened to you, bro? You don't look so good. This looks like how it should have ended. The series on YouTube.
The heresy's inception was marked by the Primarch Magnus the Red's breach of the Edicts of Nicaea.
We've heard
Defying
Magnus the Red.
prohibition on sorcery, Magnus used his powers to penetrate the psychic defenses of the Imperial Palace, intending to deliver a warning of Horus's betrayal directly to the Emperor. But the Emperor, unwilling to accept the possibility of Horus's treachery, concluded that Magnus had been the one corrupted by chaos through his continued use of sorcery. With this, the Emperor dispatched Laban Russ and a Space Wolves Legion to bring Magnus to Terra to face justice.
No. The god. Oh, fuck.
However, manipulated the Emperor's orders, inciting Laman Russ's fury against Magnus, leading to a full-scale assault on Prospero, the home world of the Thousand Sons Legion. This cataclysmic event, known as the Fall of Prospero in 4M31, ultimately precipitated the downfall of the Thousand Sons and Magnus himself to the service of the Chaos god Tzeentch. You see, Magnus sought refuge with Tzeentch, driven by the desire to preserve his legion and the vast knowledge they had amassed over the centuries. Simultaneously, the sorcerous incursion of Magnus into the Imperial Palace's psychic wards had catastrophic consequences for the Webway project. This breach allowed a multitude of demons to penetrate the Emperor's diminished psychic shield, launching an onslaught on the thousands of Mechanicum workers laboring on the human segments of the webway. The Legio Custodes and the Sisters of Silence were thrust into a fierce battle to prevent these demons from flooding through the portal created by the Golden Throne and into the Imperial Palace's dungeons. While the Imperial defenders eventually repelled the demonic incursion, only the Emperor possessed the psychic might necessary to seal the portal and contain the demons within the human-constructed portion of the webway. This emergency demanded the Emperor's full attention, leaving the task of managing Horus's insurrection to Malcador the Sigillite and...
What about the... I guess the Wayfarer project is on hold right now, I guess.
Primarch Rogol Dawn of the Imperial Fist Legion. During this period, the Emperor engaged in telepathic communication with Kai Zulain, a low-ranked astropath who had received a precognitive vision of the heresy's grim end and the Emperor's dire fate at the hands of Horus. In their exchanges, the Emperor revealed his foreknowledge and acceptance of this fate as the cost of his failed aspirations for humanity. Subsequently, Corvus Corax, Primarch of the Raven Guard Legion, deeply distressed by the near obliteration of his legion at the drop site massacre on Istvan V, sought an audience with the Emperor at the Imperial Palace. Despite the intense effort required to maintain Terra's psychic defenses against the breach in the webway, the Emperor momentarily diverted his focus to telepathically impart the knowledge of Astartes' creation into Corax's mind. In the aftermath of his audience with the Emperor, Corax commenced the reconstruction of the Raven Guard, using the newly acquired techniques for rapid Astartes development. Despite his efforts, the Alpha Legion's surreptitious actions ultimately tainted the endeavor. Consequently, the Raven Guard remained one of the so-called Shattered Legions for the duration of the heresy, playing a minimal role in its subsequent developments. 5 standard years into his vigil on the Golden Throne, safeguarding Terra from the repercussions...
I just gotta say, this guy loves to use AI art, huh? I mean, I don't know if it's like Warhammer 40k, but this definitely looks like AI. And I've heard that Warhammer 40k has like ton of sources to pull from.
The Emperor began showing signs of physical weariness. The psychic toll manifested in occasional nosebleeds, an image that even appeared in the telepathic visions sent to his Legio Custodes custodian tribune, Ra Endymion. With the emergence of the potent demon Drachnian in the warp, the Emperor realized the war within the webway was approaching a critical juncture, and humanity's destiny was nearing a decisive moment. He instructed the Sisters of Silence to amass 1,000 psychers from across the galaxy for a sacrificial ritual to the Golden Throne. This sacrifice...
And this is where that entire thing comes from. Holy shit. Why did we not get this explanation earlier?
Sacrifice would power the throne for a single solar day without the Emperor's direct involvement. Seizing this opportunity, the Emperor entered the webway to aid the beleaguered Imperial forces. He valiantly repelled the demonic onslaught and faced Drachnian.
Like the goat he is.
The Emperor trapped the demon within Ryan Dimion's body and instructed his loyal custodian to flee deep into the webway, thereby safeguarding humanity from the demon's corrupting influence. Following his confrontation with Drachnian, the Emperor was compelled to once again bind himself to the operation of the Golden Throne, effectively sealing the Terra webway portal. He expressed to his followers his sorrow over the downfall of his grand project, lamenting that with the webway project's failure, humanity's fate might mirror the Eldaris.
Just... the best character in Warhammer 40k, right? Is anyone disagreeing with this? He's the main character of Warhammer 40k, and he's the best character. There is no Warhammer without this guy.
Eventual extinction at the hands of chaos. Despite his prescient vision that foretold
There's
Horus...
nothing bad about him, bro. He's fair. Well, he's kind of fair. He's kind of fair. He has a vision for his people. He's strong. He's built different. He got aura.
His defeat at his own hands. The Emperor acknowledged the inevitability of another Chaos Lord rising to continue Horus's mission of destroying the Imperium. His custodian, Diocletian Koros, was taken aback when the Emperor conceded the potential doom of the Imperium of Man, uncertain whether it would transpire in a year or 10,000 years, and admitted for the first time that even he was at a loss on how to avert mankind's annihilation. As the Horus heresy approached its zenith with the traitor's assault on Terra, 7 years after Horus's initial push towards the throne world, the Emperor was constrained to the Golden Throne. Except for brief moments when Malcador the Sigillite, Terra's regent and the second most powerful human psycho, could substitute for him. When the Emperor became aware of Horus lowering the vengeful spirit's void shields during the siege of Terra's final stages, he interpreted this as an invitation to a decisive battle.
This shit is epic, bro. This shit is fucking epic. This is like, fuck, this is Marineford in One Piece.
Convinced that confronting Horus was essential to ending the conflict, the Emperor prepared to face his wayward son in a confrontation that would determine the future of the Imperium. Malcador the Sigillite was tasked by the Emperor to occupy the Golden Throne in his stead, safeguarding Terra from a potential demonic incursion via the Imperial Webway portal beneath the throne. Meanwhile, the Emperor assembled a strike team comprising of Astartes from the Imperial Fists and Blood Angel Space Marines. This group was to confront the Warmaster Horus directly on his own turf, aboard his chaos-corrupted flagship by employing teleporter technology. The assault force included Primarch Sanguinius, but upon their arrival, the chaos-influenced powers of Horus scattered the attackers to random locations within the massive warship. Sanguinius was the first to encounter Horus, engaging in a fierce duel that tragically culminated in his demise at his brother's hands. However, in this conflict, Sanguinius succeeded in creating a slight breach in Horus's Terminator armor. Eventually reaching the battle barge's bridge, the Emperor confronted Horus. Despite the Emperor's extraordinary psychic and physical capabilities, Horus had been transformed into a formidable entity, swollen with the collective strength of the four Chaos Gods, epitomizing the
bro, if this was a TV show or an anime or whatever, or a movie or whatever, this would go number one trending on Twitter, number one trending on YouTube, number one trending on everything, and people are gonna talk about how masterfully written this is, because this is masterfully written, and I didn't even read the book.
In contrast, the Emperor stood as the galaxy's supreme symbol of order. Their battle was a poignant clash between father and son, and Horus grievously wounded the Emperor, severing one of his arms and causing extensive internal damage. The Emperor's hesitation, stemming from his residual love for Horus, restrained him from unleashing the full magnitude of his psychic powers to annihilate him. In the pivotal moment of their confrontation on the Vengeful Spirit's Bridge, a lone Legio Custodes warrior who had journeyed with the Emperor managed to reach the battleground. Horus, wielding the immense powers of chaos sorcery, effortlessly flayed the custodian alive with a mere glance. This act of sheer brutality and indifference to human life was a turning point for the Emperor, who then fully recognized the depths of Horus's fallen to the clutches of the ruinous powers, and the dire implications for humanity under his dominion. The custodian's sacrifice provided the Emperor with the crucial moment he needed to execute his final move against Horus. Steeling himself, the Emperor concentrated the entirety of his psychic might and targeted the chink in the Warmaster's armor. This concentrated psychic assault instantly killed Horus, annihilating his soul to prevent any possibility of resurrection by the Chaos Gods. In the fleeting moments before the Emperor's devastating attack, the corruptive grip of chaos momentarily loosened on Horus, allowing the Emperor to perceive a glimmer of his son's former self. In those last seconds, Horus regained his sanity, filled with horror at the atrocities he had committed and gratitude for release from Chaos's hold. As his psyche disintegrated into the Immaterium, Horus experienced relief from his tormented state. The climactic showdown between the Emperor and Horus marked the crescendo of the Siege of Terra, unfurling dramatically aboard the Vengeful Spirit. Found grievously wounded and near death, the Emperor was discovered by Rogel Dawn, Primarch of the Imperial Fist Legion, who was part of the assault team. Dawn escorted the Emperor back to the Imperial Palace, where Malcador the Sigillite, having occupied the Golden Throne in the Emperor's absence, disintegrated into ash upon relinquishing his position. The immense strain of maintaining the closure of the portal while the Emperor confronted Horus had utterly depleted
I now know why all of you wanted me to react to the Horus heresy. I'm gonna have to do another video on the Horus heresy because, I don't know, this seems like a pretty quick explanation, so I'm gonna need a more detailed, I need to get more details from another video. But goddamn, that shit reminded me of some good media.
Malcador's body and mind. In his dying moments, the Emperor swiftly imparted instructions to Dawn for transforming the Golden Throne into a sophisticated life support system. This modification was intended to sustain the Emperor's remaining living cells in a state suspended between life and true death for over 10 millennia. He was soon interred within this modified version of the throne. The mechanisms of the throne were designed to not only maintain the Astronomican's beacon, but also to combat the Chaos God's influence in the warp. This required the daily sacrifice of psychic energies of 1,000 psychers to keep the Emperor's mind empowered and active.
Daily 1,000? You have to bring them to your doorstep or what? Or can you transmit them throughout all the other planets? Because you're doing 1,000 to one planet. I don't know, bro. I don't know.
The measure was crucial to prevent demonic incursions on Terra, and to continue the fight against Chaos's corruptive forces across the galaxy. With his vitality rapidly diminishing, the Emperor had just enough time to convey his final, succinct directives to Rogel Dawn. Following these instructions, the Emperor was placed in an eternal stasis, lasting for more than 10,000 standard years.
Yup.
Although his physical body continued to decay at an exceptionally slow rate, his mind remained conscious within the warp, engaged in an endless battle against the forces of chaos.
Cause he's fucking him. He's died for our sins.
Command! This is first platoon! We've lost the square! We can't hold it!
These are fodders, by the way. Well, not fodders. The guy that we saw hiding were fodders. These are Space Marines, but these guys, Space Marines are fodders compared to Primarchs, and Primarchs are fodders compared to the God Emperor. Is that Titus? Future of Humanity and Resurrection of Primarch.
In the 32nd millennium, the Imperial cult, which emerged as a state religion of the Imperium, would propagate the belief that the Emperor's internment within the Golden Throne was a necessary step for him to ascend from the physical realm and reclaim his rightful place in the Immaterium as humanity's true deity. This ascension was perceived as a self-sacrifice to save humanity from the betrayal of Horus. Since his ascension, the Emperor has remained within the Golden Throne, existing in a state neither fully alive nor completely dead. Originally envisioned as a hub for harnessing the Eldari webway for humanity's benefit, the throne now serves dual purposes as both a complex life support mechanism and a psychic amplifier. It extends the Emperor's consciousness into the warp and across the galaxy. The Golden Throne is situated in the Sanctum Imperialis, the central hall of the Imperial Palace, vigilantly protected by the companions of the Emperor, an elite segment of the Adeptus Custodes. His decaying corporeal form is sustained by the intricate, arcane machinery of the Golden Throne, meticulously maintained by a legion of tech priests from the Adeptus Mechanicus. His psychic essence, diffused throughout the galaxy via the warp, endeavors to oversee and protect as much of humanity as possible in his weakened state, perpetually warding off the malign influence of the ruinous powers. The Golden Throne is intricately linked to the Astronomican, an immense psychic beacon essential for enabling faster-than-light travel in Imperial starships equipped with a warp drive. The Astronomican generates a telepathic signal crucial for navigators, specialized mutant psychers to steer through warp space.
How do you come up with wait? I know there's. I'll talk about this at the end of the video.
While the signal of the Astronomican originates from the Emperor's mind, its amplification and sustenance depends on a choir of 10,000 human psychers. These psychers, selected for their psychic strength and control, undergo a stringent selection process, including a soul-binding ritual to the Emperor. The process fortifies their minds against demonic possession.
So do they have like psycher? I think they're called. I don't know how you actually pronounce it. I don't just pronounce it psycher. Do they have psycher breeding farms? Right? Do they make them fuck each other? Right? Because that's the only way we're gonna on the daily get rid of 1,000. If you really want to travel 10,000 psychers all at once, or
the life force of these
very often,
is gradually depleted over several months, with 1,000 dying daily, necessitating a constant influx of replacements.
Yup.
These replacements are transported to Terra aboard the Adeptus Astra Telepathicus Notorious Black Ships, an organization tasked with regulating humans with psychic abilities. Most of these psychers are conditioned to embrace their role as a noble sacrifice for the Imperium, given their potential danger to others, and the belief that their death serves the highest purpose for the God Emperor.
There's gonna be one psycher out there who thinks otherwise and leads a psychic rebellion.
Those less willing are subdued, and their psychic energies harnessed for the throne's power collection mechanism. The Imperium's survival is deemed paramount, regardless of the daily human cost. It is commonly believed that the Emperor's existence within the Golden Throne is one of perpetual agony and torment, yet it is his profound commitment to humanity that prevents him from succumbing to death. In the event of the Emperor's demise, the Astronomicon would become inoperative, severing humanity's current means of safely navigating the warp. This scenario is somewhat contested by the fact that humanity managed interstellar travel before the Emperor's tenure on the Golden Throne during the Dark Age of technology. However, without the Astronomicon, the Imperium risks fragmentation and descent into civil strife. The Emperor's sustained existence, crucial for guidance and protection, coupled with the unwavering commitment of his subjects to prevent his death, underpins the belief in his divinity as propagated by the Imperial cult.
That's gotta be such a weird sight, you know? Seeing the Emperor all dried up like a prune sitting on a throne. It's like he looks like he's basically like the statue, you know? A statue. You know the Abraham Lincoln statue? He's basically that, but he's alive.
By billions across the galaxy. The Space Marine chapters, unlike the masses, do not uniformly acknowledge the Emperor's divinity. They remember, albeit faintly, his initial intent to liberate humanity from the binds of superstition and organized religion. Nonetheless, they revere him as the founder of the Imperium and history's most eminent human leader. In a recent unforeseen development, as the Imperium faced a formidable onslaught of chaos during Abaddon the Despoiler's 13th Black Crusade in 999 M41 and the subsequent fall of Cadia, which triggered the formation of the Great Rift, a significant event occurred. One of the Emperor's sons, Primarch Robert Guilliman, was resurrected, awakened from stasis in the Temple of Correction on his homeworld of Macrage.
Have we heard of him before? We've heard of him before, haven't we? I don't remember where.
The revival was facilitated by the technological prowess of Archmagos Dominus Belisarius Call and the might of Inead, the Eldari god of the dead. Following his reawakening, Guilliman made his way to the throne world. Upon entering the Imperial Palace, he was able to converse with his father, the Emperor, for the first time in 10,000 standard years.
Oh shit.
But the full contents of their discussion remained shrouded in mystery. Following this historic meeting, Guilliman assumed the mantle of leadership, taking on the role of Lord Commander of the Imperium, and effectively becoming the chief authority over the High Lords of Terra. In response to the looming threat of Noctis Aeterna, he initiated the Indomitus Crusade, driven predominantly by the recently developed Primaris Space Marines. This campaign was a critical effort to safeguard the future of the Emperor's empire in the face of growing darkness. However, a sense of urgency prevails. In 999 M41, the Adeptus Mechanicus conveyed a distressing revelation to the High Lords of Terra and the Adeptus Custodes. The advanced life support systems of the Golden Throne are failing. Moreover, the tech priests admit they lack the requisite knowledge to conduct repairs. In the
no fucking way.
absence of a solution or an unforeseen miracle, the Emperor's withered body is destined to perish, extinguishing his mind and spirit amidst the tumult of the warp. This event would leave humanity isolated in an unforgiving void. And in that darkness, the waiting predators of the galaxy will begin their feast.
For more than 100 centuries, the Emperor has sat immobile on the golden throne of Earth. For in the grim, dark future, there is no peace amongst the stars, only the laughter of thirsting gods.
This AI shit is crazy, bro.
Do not fail your brothers. Though their bodies die, their spirit must return to the chapter. That is your charge.
Emperor's transcendence to God Emperor. What? You mean his story doesn't end there? There's more?
In a poignant twist of fate, the Emperor of Mankind, who would strive to steer humanity away from religious faith and superstition, found himself being venerated as a living deity, even before the onset of the Horus heresy. This shift in perception was significantly influenced by the Primarch Lorgar of the Wordbearers Legion, who had authored the Lectitio Divinitatis. The text presented a compelling argument for the divinity of the Emperor. It posited that no mere mortal could have achieved the unification of Terra's techno-barbarian tribes and nations.
Okay, so he's not... Alright, I understand now. He's talking about from physicality to spirituality. He went from man to myth, is what's going on right now.
An ordinary human being reunite much of the human-settled galaxy.
He's turned into a religion.
Furthermore, the book argued that the Emperor's extraordinary psychic prowess, his profound scientific insight, which indicated a deep understanding of the universe's fundamental nature, and his boundless compassion and goodwill towards humanity, were attributes beyond the scope of a normal human. Lorgar's assertions gained traction, and even before the conclusion of the Great Crusade, various cults venerating the Emperor emerged, with the Lectitio Divinitatis serving as their holy scripture. Many of these groups even adopted the name of Lorgar's tome as the label for their faith. However, the deification of the Emperor was in direct violation of the imperial truth, which espoused a doctrine of atheism and rationalism. Emperor worship was considered a grave offense under this doctrine, the same transgression that led to Lorgar and his word-bearers' public denunciation on Kur, and their subsequent pivot towards chaos worship to fulfill their spiritual needs. While Lorgar eventually disowned the Lectitio Divinitatis in favor of the chaos-infused Book of Lorgar, millions of other individuals during the tumultuous Horus heresy increasingly embraced the worship of the Emperor as a beacon of hope and resilience amidst the era's atrocities. The apparent efficacy of devout Emperor worship in shielding his followers from the warp's demonic forces only accelerated the spread of this emerging religion. Over time, the Emperor's worship expanded significantly. By the 32nd millennium, the initially...
Imagine how much of a G you gotta be to be made into a religion. You gotta do some crazy shit, bro. You gotta be a special person for that to happen. That's exactly what the fucking God Emperor is. He's him. He's him. He's the one.
...to the imperial cult. This widespread religion, with its countless trillions of human adherents, was administered by the extensive interstellar clergy of the Ecclesiarchy, formerly known as the Adeptus Ministorum. This religious body was officially recognized by the High Lords of Terra as the state religion of the Imperium.
Listen, hold on. I would not mind if I had a picture book story of just murals telling the story of the God Emperor. In fact, I think it would be better than a visual, or not a visual. I think it would be better than a audible story, you know, with words. You hear the words, see the words. I want to see the pictures. I want to see the murals, the legends, the colors and everything.
The state religion of the Imperium,
the pictures.
The Emperor of Mankind transcended his role as a mere secular ruler to become the God Emperor, hailed as a singular divine entity of all humanity. His directives were interpreted and enforced by the High Lords of Terra of the Senatorum Imperialis. The Adeptus Arbites upheld his laws. The Adeptus Custodes safeguarded his body in the Imperial Palace, and the Adeptus Astartes were the defenders of the Imperium. The Inquisition, conceived by Malcador the Sigillite at the Emperor's behest during the Horus heresy's inception, evolved into a formidable entity, safeguarding the Imperium against both external and internal threats. Contrary to the Emperor's initial objections to deification, the profound faith of trillions of humans has significantly fortified his mind and soul within the Immaterium. In this psychically responsive realm, reality is sculpted by the collective beliefs and subconscious desires of the galaxy's most numerous intelligent species. The Imperial Creed posits that the Emperor's confinement within the Golden Throne is not a defeat, but it's...
Okay, hold on. Last week I asked if these were like female space marines. Apparently there are no female space marines. They're called something else. I forgot what they're called, but there are no female space marines. I understand now. It's not
that enables him
biologically
to guide
possible.
Humanity more directly, unshackled by physical constraints. This belief has led to widespread adoption of the skull in imperial iconography and architecture, symbolizing the Emperor's self-sacrifice for his people. Post-Horus heresy, the Emperor has essentially become a deity within the warp, his power rivaling that of any one of the four major chaos gods and potentially equaling their collective might.
God, they gassing this dude up, bro. They sucking his dick, and I'll be sucking his dick, though, bro. Come on now, come on now.
Perhaps the most potent spiritual force for order in the Milky Way galaxy. Though his physical form is but a devastated husk, more akin to a corpse than a living man, the Golden Throne's ability to sustain even the faintest semblance of his vital functions allows the Emperor to preserve his influence within the warp. Concurrently, despite a severely weakened state, The Emperor retains the ability to cryptically convey his intentions to select psykers via the mystical Emperor's Tarot. Additionally, he can impart dreams and visions directly to certain non-psychic individuals, provided their faith in him is strong enough to establish a connection. The Emperor also offers a range of psychic defenses against the forces of chaos and its demons, facilitated through the bond of faith. There is even speculation that he may exert influence over the physical universe in other unforeseen ways. A prominent example within the Imperium is the belief that the Warp Storm, known as the Storm of the Emperor's Wrath, which emerged in the Ultima Segmentum during the 36 Millennium's Age of Apostasy, was a direct manifestation of the Emperor's fury. This phenomenon is widely attributed to his divine will, a reaction to the usurpation of the Imperium's governance by the tyrant High Lord Goj Vandire. The Emperor's formidable presence within the Warp is believed to be a crucial bulwark against the encroaching forces of chaos. Should the Emperor be absent from the Immaterium, it is feared that chaos would overrun the physical universe, potentially transforming the galaxy into a nightmarish realm,
Damn right.
to the Eye of Terror.
World can't live without you,
Among the
King.
upper echelons of the Inquisition, only a select few were aware that within the Sanctum Imperialis, the throne room in the Imperial Palace, the Emperor wields the power to directly manipulate reality. This includes the extraordinary capability to alter the flow of time, potentially slowing or even halting its progression. However, the God Emperor exists in a state of profound torment. Isolated from more direct interactions with his followers, he is appalled by the evolution of his Imperium over the past 10,000 years. The Horus heresy's deep scars and the relentless threats from chaos, xenos, mutants, and internal traitors have marred humanity's journey. The Age of Imperium, rather than ushering in the envisioned golden age of mankind, has resulted in a civilization marked by stability, but plagued with technological stagnation, intellectual decline, political oppression, and widespread exploitation.
Damn.
This era is further tainted by rampant xenophobia and often brutal
Xenophobia?
intolerance, far from the Emperor's original aspirations for humanity's future.
You see what happens when the big man dies, bro? Bro. I can't even tell you how much I want this guy back. I know damn near nothing about Warhammer 40k. I'm in love with this guy. This guy's him.
Throughout the 10,000
One of the best characters ever.
Imperium's dominion over humanity in his name, the very maladies the Emperor sought to eradicate have only multiplied. Despite this, the Emperor perseveres in his unceasing agony, aware that his demise would debilitate the Imperium and deprive humanity of the limited guidance it can still provide, as well as the crucial defense he offers against the forces of chaos. He effectively harbors the grave concern that without his presence, humanity may not endure. Thus, despite its many flaws and its state of decline, he permits the Imperium to persist. On rare occasions, the Emperor intervenes through his chosen emissaries, striving to enhance the human condition. He nurtures the faint spark of hope among mankind as the time of ending approaches, and the mechanisms of the Golden Throne deteriorate, akin to a faltering timepiece.
Soon their foulness will be but a memory. That is what the preachers say. Belief will not save us. Lies will not protect us. But it is our hope that will damn us.
Well, that's all for today, folks.
Alright, guys. First things first, and most important. I'm going to be checking out the Horus heresy next. So if you guys want to leave me a link to any good videos on the Horus heresies, I'm probably going to be picking based off of which ones have the most, or which recommendations have the most likes. And if it's, mainly it's runtime, I think. I don't want anything too long, but I don't want anything too short either. Like, I want a good, solid telling of the Horus heresy. So if you guys could leave a link to any videos that you want me to check out below, then go ahead and link it down there. Secondly, I just started on Warhammer 40k, and the Emperor might be one of my favorite characters of all time. He's just a figure shrouded with grandness. The grandeur of this man is you can't express it enough in a story. Right? You have to see it for yourselves. You gotta look out far out there. Some holy light. You gotta feel it. You gotta feel it. I'm just saying. Wow. I'm I'm actually excited to get into the Horus heresy. I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm excited to get into the Horus heresy. I'm excited to see more of the God Emperor and probably the most important arc in all of humanity, at least in the Warhammer 4K universe. But ladies and gentlemen, yeah, like I said, leave a link down to the Horus heresy or any videos of the Horus heresy that you guys want me to check out. I will sift through them, see which one is the best, and then I will make a video on that as soon as possible, okay? If you like my video, make sure to like and subscribe. I'll catch you guys next time. Goodbye.